look, the Kingdom of Kongo, right before European colonization, right? When most people think about Africa, the conversation usually starts with slavery, right? That's the first chapter many of us were taught. We learn about slave ships, plantations, colonizations, right? And while those stories absolutely matter, I've always wondered, like, something, right? What came before all of that? Like, what did our ancestors build? You know what I'm saying, though, before anyone tried to take it away? Because history didn't begin with slavery, right? Our story didn't begin in chains. Long before Europeans ships reached the coast of Central Africa, there was already a powerful kingdom here, right? Not a scattered group of people trying to survive. A real kingdom with a king, a government, laws. You know what I'm saying? Trade, diplomacy. You know what I'm saying? Military leaders, farmers, artists, craftsmen, a civilization. That kingdom was Congo. For the most part, though, look, and honestly, look, I don't think enough people know his story. Imagine waking up more than 500 years ago in the Kingdom of Kongo. The sun just beginning to rise. People are already filling the streets. Merchants are opening their market stalls, right? Blacksmiths are heating iron in massive furnaces. You know what I'm saying? Women are bringing fresh crops into town. Children are running through the streets. Messengers are already riding between villages, carrying news from the king. This ain't chaos. This is order, right? This isn't a place waiting to be civilized. This is already a civilization. The Kingdom of Kongo, look, stretched across parts of what we now call Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Republic of the Congo, and Gabon. Millions of people live throughout the region, right? The kingdom was divided into provinces, each and by local governors who answered to the king, right? That means there was organizations, leadership, responsibility. There were systems in place to keep society functioning, right? The capital city, Kongo, was one of the largest cities in Central Africa during this time, right? Travelers who visited described busy streets, large homes, markets full of goods, and a royal court that reflected the power of the kingdom. Think about that for a second. While many people imagine pre-colonial Africa as a disconnected villages, there were cities where politics, trade, religion, and culture came together every single day. One of the things that made Congo so successful was trade. Long before Europeans arrived, merchants were moving goods across Africa. Iron tools, copper, salt, cloth, pottery, palm products, livestock, food. Trade wasn't just about making money. It connected communities. It spread ideas. It built relationships. It created prosperity, right? And that's something that often gets overlooked. Sometimes people talk about African, important happened until Europe showed up, right? But Congo reminds us that African societies were already building economies, solving problems, and governing themselves centuries before that first European ship appeared on the horizon, right? Then in the late 1400s, everything began to change. Portuguese explorers reached the coast of Central Africa. At first, the relationship looked promising. There were gifts, diplomatic meetings, right? Trade agreements, new technologies. The leaders of Congo weren't isolated from the rest of the world. They were interested in learning, building alliances, and strengthening their kingdom, right? I'm sorry, it's a little windy out here. One of the first kings to interact with Portugal was Nzuka and Nukwa. After meeting the Portuguese, he accepted Christianity and was baptized, right? His son, Afonso, I would take that relationship even further, right? King Afonso wasn't an uninformed ruler. He was uneducated, strategic, curious. He believed that learning from Europe while protecting Congo could make his kingdom stronger. He encouraged literacy. He welcomed missionaries, bro. He exchanged letters with the Portuguese king, bro. Is you hearing me, my nigga? Look, those letters still exist today. And when you read them, you don't hear someone who didn't understand politics. You hear a leader trying to protect his country during one of the biggest changes in the world history, homie. But over time, something darker began to grow. The Atlantic slave trade, right? As demand for enslaved Africans increased, illegal slave traders began kidnapping people throughout the religion. Entire communities were affected, right? Families were torn apart. And King Afonso saw what was happening, bro. He wrote letters after letter after asking the Portugals to stop the kidnapping. He warned that free citizens were being taken, that corrupt officials were helping the trade, that his kingdom was being damaged from the inside. Imagine being a king trying to protect your people while powerful foreign interests care more about profit than human life. That's the position Congo found itself in, right? Listen to me, because it reminds us that the story isn't simple. African kingdoms weren't just standing by, watching events unfold. Fuck no. The leaders were making decisions, bro. Negotiating. Resisting. Trying to protect the people in a world that was changing faster than anyone could have ever imagined, bro. Unfortunately, though, the pressure kept growing. Wars became more common, right? Political disagreements weakened the kingdom. Outside the influence became stronger. Over generations, the kingdom of the Congo slowly lost much of the power it once had. But its legacy never disappeared. Its culture survives. Its art survives. Its traditions survive. Right? Its influence across the Atlantic with millions of Africans who were forced into slavery, right? Even in unimaginable suffering, pieces of Congo lived through their own language, right? Musical, spiritual beliefs, craftsmanship, and family traditions, right? And that's one of the reasons I think that learning this history matters, right? Because as a black person, it's powerful to know that our history is bigger than our oppression, right? Yes, we have to tell the truth about our slavery, right? But yes, we have to acknowledge colonization. But we also deserve to know about the civilizations that came before. The governments, the kingdoms, the engineers, the artists, right? The diplomats, the farmers, the merchants, and also the leaders, bro. Like man, pay attention. Our ancestors, bro. Look at our ancestors. Weren't simply just surviving history. They weren't doing that. They were making history, bro. Like they made history. They didn't even know it. Look, the Kingdom of Kongo wasn't perfect. No civilization is, but what is organized, right? It was influential. It was respected, and it proved something that should never be forgotten, right? Black history did not begin with slavery, bro. It began with people building families, bro. Communities, right? Kingdoms and civilizations that shape the world in ways that many of us are only beginning to rediscover, right? Look at this right here, though. Like here, you think I'm playing right here, though? Like I'm out here. Don't let the story begin with chains. Tell us about kingdoms, though. Look at this right here. Yeah. Because before the world tried to refine our future, our ancestors had already built one of their own. You know what I'm saying? Though, look what it is. Like, bro. It is what it is, though. I ain't trying to have a conversation with the audience. Instead of reading from a textbook, or you know what I'm saying? Though, look. Just pay attention to what you need to know, though. Just know, though. Look, I'm out here, though. Look.